How's it going, everybody?
How's it going? Kip Andersen.
Keegan, nice to meet you. All right, so that's super weak. How's everybody going? I know it's Sunday. Hey, so before we start, so I'm Keegan Kuhn. I'm the co-director of COWSPIRACY and What the Hell. I don't know if you guys know who this guy is. It's Kip Andersen. But first, I really want to acknowledge and thank Tara Tate, who is the main person who got this whole conference going. So everybody give her a big round of applause. Tara's a total rock star. She's AUM's
AUM's everything.
AUM is, Animals United Movement is a very small nonprofit organization that produces these films, that's doing these books, that's doing series, that's doing these conferences, and Tara handles probably 90% or more of it.
She's like the 99%, the 1% is like 99%.
So if you had a good time, you can thank Tara. If you didn't have a good time, you can also thank Tara.
And all I think the thing is we're talking about a good way to start about how we met. We get asked that a lot. We are not brothers, we're brothers from another mother, definitely like soul brothers.
Yeah, people ask, they say, so how did you and Kip team up? And I usually joke and I say, misconnections on Craigslist. But the funny thing is we actually did meet through Craigslist. Do you want to talk about how you work on that?
Yeah, I mean, this is one about actually persistence, I was going to mention the other day. So I've been vegan 10 years, and it happened all at the same time. I found about the ethics of a really graphic called Meet Your Meat. It's a 12-minute video, Earthlings in 12 minutes. Same time, I found about the environment. Actually finally got to talk to her master. If you go to a loving hut, she had a supreme masters. Anyway, I found out all about the environment, all about how it's destroying the planet, and was blown away. So at that time, I started contacting the organizations, and they were not replying to me. Sierra Club and Greenpeace. And then in the film, that's probably the only little fib we say, is I said I was trying to do it for 4 months. In reality, it was years. And then to the point where they are the inspiration. It's like Greenpeace and the Sierra Clubs, they're the ones who really inspired this film. But I was trying to work on it for a long time, and I would tell my friends, make a movie, make a movie. And I was like, sure, laugh, year after year. And I was collaborating with other people, didn't work without. And then finally, magically, it was meant to be with the animals, really, in the universe, connected with Keegan. And from the moment we met and sat down, within the moment we met and sat down, 10 months, the film was done. And we just like, we just worked so well together, because I've worked independently mostly on a lot of things up to that point, I think Keegan as well. But collaborating with someone, you're used to working with people that you get along with, you do the same things and almost the same talents and same personalities and all that. But finding that person, because I was working on that film for about 3 years before, it just wasn't quite clicking. But to find that special partner that you have where you just click on all levels and fill in each other's gaps, I mean, it's so magical. And just keep on going, persistence, because you will happen, and so it was destiny.
Yeah. For the first time, Kip posted this Craigslist ad that was super cryptic, and it was a documentary about humane meat, but it didn't really make any sense. His ad kept getting flagged for whatever reason. And so I had just finished a documentary called Turlock, which is a feature-length documentary about the largest, it's a good movie, it's about the largest farm animal rescue. It's actually the largest animal rescue in California history, second largest in US history. And it was spearheaded by Animal Place. They were a farm animal sanctuary in the back who has 2 sanctuaries, and they stepped in to try and save, there was 50,000 egg-laying hens in battered cages that have been abandoned, left to starve to death, and Animal Place stepped in to try to save as many as possible. So it's a documentary about that. And I had a little bit of downtime, and I had never looked on Craigslist before for jobs, because I was pretty regular. I was working for nonprofits, doing short videos and short films, and I see this weird cryptic ad. And so I sent a message and said, hey, I'm a vegan filmmaker, I'm into the environment, these are my skills is what I can do. And Kip called me, and I'm so, the movie's called COWSPIRACY, and I'm conspiratorial for sure, and paranoid like hell. So for the first probably 10 months, I thought Kip was a cop. I'm like, this dude's a cop.
It's 10 months, and we were finished with the film. I remember like 4 or 5 months in, he's like, I have to tell you, miss having these nightmares. Like the last little thing, if I'm an undercover, undercover vet or something. So
wasn't it until, I'm still not totally sure. It wasn't until the film came out, I'm like, hey, he's a cop, he did a good job. But it was pretty amazing. We had one meeting, outlined the film, and then immediately started shooting. And it was the sense of urgency. And I think that's something that I think Kip and I both want to impress upon everybody who's here, is that we are living in extremely urgent times. That we have to do something. We have to do really anything we can do. And that's something I actually wanted to talk about, because people are really inspired by these films, and that's amazing. As filmmakers, it really touches us. But a lot of times people say, oh, well, I'm going to make a movie, or I feel like I have to make a movie. And that's great. If your background is filmmaking, or if you have an aptitude for storytelling, then totally go that way. But please don't feel like, as an activist, you have to make a documentary. Because the truth is that we don't all need to be documentary filmmakers. We don't all need to be protesters holding signs or legislation. I think people should go with what feeds them, and what they feel good at, and what they're efficient with, and what they can be sustainable with. Because sadly, there's a lot of really passionate activists who say, I'm going to make a documentary, and they make really bad documentaries. And not to say that our documentaries are great, but Kip and I took the time, the years, to learn how to use cameras, to learn how to edit, to learn the skills necessary to make a watchable documentary. And so if you're going to go that route, take the time, learn the skills, learn the tools. But again, don't feel like you have to. As an activist, I always felt like I had to go to protest. And I would go to protest, and I'm a really bad protester because I'm really, really angry. And so I would lose control of myself. And I actually, to the point that organizers asked me to stop coming to their protests. And so I learned. I said, okay, that's not my avenue. I'm a better leafleter. I'm a better, I can do outreach decently. And then I found film, and that's what I did. And so, again, trying to encourage people to do something. Do something, but do something that's going to feed you, that you feel good about. If you feel socially awkward, then hey, don't do outreach. Do something behind the scenes. There's my friend Tim Russell, our friend Tim Russell in the back, who runs Vital Action Tribe. It's a phenomenal conservation organization. Tim has done pretty much every single type of activism that's out there. And he's found his work, which is saving sea turtles, feeding people, doing conservation work, reforestation, and he's doing it in a way that is sustainable for him. You've got people who are more behind the scenes. Dawn Rogers, who's an incredible CPA, who is helping organizations and people do the good work. And so she's using her skill set. You've got so many different amazing activists. Greg Ansel, who's the CEO of an amazing company, he's using his skill set from business and from marketing and from finance to help people do amazing work. So it's, again, it's finding whatever you're good at, whatever tools you can bring to this movement and use it.
Yeah, and that being said, just learn by doing, just start doing it. The collective amount of courses we've taken at an actual film school, I think, is 4. Because I don't think he was year 0. And all I did, my passion, both of our passion is film. Studying film, loving film, and then also too, a personal thing with me is, as a kid growing up, my grandma made me watch 60 Minutes because she had to watch 60 Minutes. And then getting really into the art form of interviewing. And then just getting passionate about that, and it was so cool to somehow combine your passion with another passion and then have those melt. So really finding what you love to do, because this is a long haul. Being an activist it's a lifetime thing. It's not like you retire someday, 60 years old, wow, that was good, did my job. It's forever. So find something that you're doing and then start doing it. I took 4 classes at San Francisco Community College. If anyone's in the Bay Area, phenomenal school. They're all about learning by doing. And I took just 1 editing, cinematography, producing, and one other one, and directing. And then started doing some wedding videos. So just start doing. It's like anything, playing tennis, you just got to start playing tennis. With that route, I would say that.
So that my background as well, people will say, how do you make movies? Do like what Kip said, practice, shoot short films, shoot short videos. I started by doing videos for nonprofits. I find nonprofits that I believed in and wanted to support, and I would say, hey, let me do a short video for free. So you get that practice of doing, you can tell a story in 3 minutes. You're more powerful at being able to tell a story that's 90 minutes. When people jump into doing feature length, it's hey, start small and build up. But as Kip said, Kip's the only one who has actually any formal training in filmmaking. I'm a 6th grade dropout. I made it until I was 12 years old, and totally self-taught. People ask me, like, oh, where'd you go to film school? I said, well, YouTube University, looking at YouTube. And so don't feel like, again, that you need some sort of formal training. Don't feel like anything's gonna hold you back. Whatever you want to do, just jump into it full steam.
It's super inspiring with Keegan, because you're also you're dyslexic.
Yeah,
I mean, how many dyslexic, and he dropped out of school at what, 13 years old? 12, for multiple reasons. Like, how many excuses does he have to this, you know? But you know, persistence and the passion and just and curiosity. I think that's what we both really share, is curiosity, just asking questions, how to do this, how to make things better. That's a cool thing about being around, like being an activist, is because we have made the connection. I mean, that's the thing with I think if you're not at that point, it's all about a disconnect. So you're not connecting all the dots to who you are as a human being, to other animals, to other beings, to everything else. And when you remove that kind of dark area, then boom, it's the second law of thermodynamics, nothing gets removed, or it just gets changed. So all that black light turns into all this white light, and connections start making place. And once that connection starts making place, and you have that with a sense of curiosity as a little kid, then, and passion, boom, it just starts exploding. I mean, just a living example of that, just constantly wanting to do better, learning, university, YouTube, over and over and over, and that was what I did too as well. And something I just want to, is top of my head because I almost forgot it. I mentioned being an activist about language, outfit, and energy. A great thing, Keegan's a living example of that as well, because it's crazy enough, Keegan, only about what, a year before we met, he had dreadlocks. You know, it's almost like called dreadlocks, but it's like one massive dreadlock, but down to here. He had a beard down to here and one giant dreadlocks. And
it's actually more like a dreadlock model.
It was a dreadlock model. And he just like comes to his hardcore. He's an amazing musician, anarchist, and to tell the story of what happened. Like it's a good story of outfitting and language.
Yeah. So I mean, I became vegan because of vegan straight edge hardcore, which is, you know, hardcore punk rock music that had a powerful message talking about human liberation, animal liberation, and earth liberation, and that impacted me. Super aggressive, and people would say, well, you can't yell at people, they're not going to go vegan. Well, I'm actually a direct result of that. I became vegan because of a hardcore band called Earth Crisis. But as an activist, I was, you know, super angry and really deep in that community of punk and fashion. But I heard a talk by Bruce Friedrich, who's now with the, I forget the name of his organization he's doing now. Good Food Institute, that's right. But he was with them with PETA, and he said that because he comes from, he's more like a hippie background, and he had long hair and a big beard, and he said, you know, the animals don't have time for us to get over being angry. They don't have time for us to get over our own fashion sense. They need us to be active, and they need us to do what's needed. And I took that to heart. That, you know, not to say that looking like a punk or looking like a hippie is going to stop you from appealing to people. You're going to appeal to your community, and that's awesome. It's totally needed. But I wanted to reach people outside of my community. And so I cut my beard, I cut my hair, started trying to dress nicer, which I still fail at, but I tried. Because I wanted to reach a bigger community. And that's, I think, what we were talking about earlier is about getting past yourself, getting out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Too, also, while we're having a bit of discussion, thinking about some questions that you might want to ask us as well. With that being said, ego is such a big one. I feel someone was talking about it on the last panel. About ego is an interesting thing because a lot of times you think ego, like, oh, someone has such a big ego, they have to be in front of the camera, this and this. But sometimes, especially in the activism world, like, we're doing this for others. So a lot of us don't have this, you know, this ego, and it's an interesting demographic, I think, and that's why everyone on that panel that was there, that is not natural for them. I mean, I know every one of them, even us being up here, a personal story of that is Keegan, when we started mapping out COWSPIRACY, like, all right, we have to find someone who, you know, because I knew this information, but we wanted to find someone who, it tells the personal story of my true story, but it happened about 6 years before we met. So the first part, it's just like a reenactment of the first part. It's a true story. But we wanted to find someone who really is going through that process. We're going to kind of guide them on this journey. And we started looking for people, and then Keegan,
I said, you know, it should be you, Kip. And Kip fought me on it. He's like, I don't want to be on camera, I don't want to do this, this is a bad idea. And I said, no, you should do it. I'm
I got chills just, I literally got chills because I was like, there's no way I can confront this, is not an option. And then either you or I was like, you know what? This isn't about me. This isn't about me. Like, get my ego out of the way. This is not about me. It's like, because it was true. It's like, you know, just have to do this because I knew all the information. And studying the interviews, like how to interview, it was a passion. And it's like chills because this is not natural.
And the truth, and to that same point, if it is about you, the motivations are backwards. It has to be about the others. Because if it's about ourselves, well then, hey, you can get in your own way. But if you get out of your own way and you're doing it for others, then you're always at service.
Also, to note of how shy I was, I feel I'm not any. It's not as much now. Is that when we did our premiere tour of the 12. Did like 12 cities. It was the first time I had to talk in front of anyone other than like a college. And I was shaking and I was standing behind Keegan, literally like standing behind him and he'd have to talk. And I remember like, if you get sick on this tour one night, we have to cancel the whole thing because I cannot speak in front of people. Like it was that bad. So like no excuses for someone and like really getting yourself out of the way and just again learn by doing. That's a big.
Yeah, so one of the questions, we get asked a lot of questions, we get to do interviews, which again I'm super thankful for, but one of the questions that we don't actually get asked that much, and I want to know your thoughts on this too. What is something that, both for COWSPIRACY and What the Health, that we left on, I'd like to make people wish for?
Oh, it's amazing. So each one of those films is honestly a solid 2 to 2.5 hour film, like solid. And that's, I think, a filmmaker. For a documentary, I think if you can make those films in 90 minutes, if you see those facts pages. I remember the first time I went on COWSPIRACY.com facts page, if someone just typed it in like, oh, we'll do this for you. Like, wow, we fit all that in. We had no idea. We just started doing it. But how much information we had to leave out, and we edited something out. And we were like, we can't look back. We look back and we start crying. Can't put this out. But we had to make it 90 minutes. So there's so many things we left out. But I guess the more recent ones we just did What the Health most recently is the one that this was one probably don't regrets, but is the soy issue of the soy because you hear it all the time. We should be eating soy, and then we had it in the film of this. Who was it? The Weston Price, or somehow I don't want to say any names, but basically it was a whole campaign. You actually told it.
Yeah, so it's the soy industry is making huge impacts on the dairy industry. People were switching over to, still are, switching over from dairy to soy. And so the United Dairy,
be careful when you say actual names.
A large dairy group started funding studies and started trying to discredit soy. And so there's this, you saw this huge campaign, right? Like soy makes you gay, makes men grow breasts, what's the other ones? Soy gives you cancer, which, so you look at these studies, and all you have to do is look and find the studies, and then you look at how they design these studies. So, oh yeah, soy gives you cancer. Yeah, if you are a lab rat and you are eating 100% GMO soy, yeah, your chances of getting cancer go up. But if you look at human populations who eat a tremendous amount of organic soy, processed and unprocessed, have some of the lowest rates of cancer in the world.
And ironically, too, the studies that they're using and manipulating was about estrogen. Like estrogen is the bad thing, and it's actually phytoestrogen. What is in cow's milk? It's a hormonal fluid, and so ironic they used what they had in there and then that liquid and that. But that's one thing we would have been nice to hear because I think a lot about that. How about you?
The big things that I wish, and again from What the Health, was the link between the WIC program, which is the Women, Infants, and Children program, which is a federal program that provides food to low-income mothers particularly, but it's a heavy dairy base, so it's cheese, milk, yogurt, butter. And I think it actually ended up in What the Health with just a tiny little section where there was this whole initiative to put fruits and vegetables as part of this box with package, and the dairy industry fought against that. And they fought really hard to keep fruits and vegetables out of this package. And that to me, we went more in depth in the film, but just shows that this industry does not care about your health. Because who would fight against fruits and vegetables? Especially from mothers-to-be or lactating mothers and infants. Who would say that they shouldn't have fruits and vegetables? Nobody. No medical professional, nobody would say that. Only the dairy industry. Because the dairy industry does not care about people's health. They care about making money, and then they get their products bought by the federal government for that. So, right on. I don't think they know that we can say that. And so that's something I think I really wish we could have done.
And with COWSPIRACY, I'd say if you elaborate a little bit more on the unsavory, the whole, what would you call that? The
holistic
management creating, because that's the one we get a lot too. We just had a quick thing about unsavory initially. What's the word it's called? It's about, he says that you should have more cows to help with the soil regeneration through putting more cows on it. And that's something that would have taken another 5 minutes in the film to dive into. 5 minutes is a lot, it's a lot, so we had to take that out.
The original cuts of COWSPIRACY and What the Hell for 2.5 hours. And to cut out an hour of footage was extremely painful. And we literally have gone through these films cutting out seconds. We're like, oh, we can cut out an right there, we can cut out a space right there. Because if you watch these films, there's only, both in COWSPIRACY and What the Hell, there's only one time in each film that there's silence. Otherwise it's wall-to-wall talking. Because we're trying to cram as much information in there while still telling a story. And I think that's a big part too, like people ask, like, the information that we provided in both of these films isn't really new information. We were uncovering some, but for the most part, it was information that was already out there. We just packaged it in a way that was consumable. And I think that's a big part about all of our activism, is making our activism consumable. Make it so that people can easily digest and take in that information.
Yeah, I think that being said too is a couple things that we've learned and it worked out is one, to make it, with activism, it's a good thing with the children's films, make it entertaining, make it fun, make it creative, look on the different side of things that normally wouldn't have, and then provide a solution. Remember we talked about COWSPIRACY the first time we got together, it's like, I want to try to see if we can make this into a comedy. It's like, what? What are you talking about? This is so serious, how can we do this? I don't know, any way we can incorporate humor into this. That's so huge. Humor, I just watched the Pope Francis documentary. If anyone's seen that, it's really good. And his one takeaway of the entire film at the very end, he talks about humor. Humor is the most powerful thing to unite people. And it's that vibration of humor. Humor's laughter's the best medicine. And that's been sticking with me, or reminding me how powerful that is. But then also too is provide solutions. On the panel talking about showing graphic images. We purposely hardly don't at all. But is to show the truth. Turn on the light, show the truth, but hey, here's the solution. Here is the solution. Here's an inspiring solution. Wow, it's so inspiring, I'm gonna jump on board. And then with activism, the solution is coming over an incredible vegan meal, of just doing things that's showing how radiant and good you feel. So just providing solutions. We were always really focused on that. We knew that wasn't really being seen previously.
But kind of go into the graphic stuff, because we had a big conversation about that, like whether COWSPIRACY was going to have any graphic footage in it. But we felt like, hey, maybe that was an important thing. But the thing that I found really interesting, the hardest part about making COWSPIRACY was the duck slaughter. I never thought I possibly could film an animal that would be killed in front of me and not intervene and just let it happen. That was really hard. But it was interesting, the hardest part for you wasn't that duck slaughter.
Yeah, we had a question we asked each other, what was the most difficult part? And a lot of people think, for me, it would be the duck slaughter. And I know it's such a powerful, it was like a dream of that, especially, we've had 2 cameras, and it was, I think I had the camera, it was looking right at the camera. And it was such a bigger moment than just knowing at that time, something about that this film was going to be powerful. And that duck, almost like the duck knew it or something. It was like it transcended his or her life. It was really powerful. But the most difficult part of all filming was going to the organic dairy farm. That was horrific, because we were going to the dairy farm. It was the nicest one they possibly could show us, one of the nicest ones maybe in the country. We're in California, and it's their one that they knew they wanted to show us. It's like, wow, this will be interesting, because it might be really beautiful, and they just really won't show maybe the cows being separated from their kids, but other than that, they're going to be happy. And we get there, and if any of you have been around a sanctuary or just your pets, when your pet is sad or your pet is sick, you can feel the energy drop. And when you're on this organic dairy farm, you're just basically slaves, and you right when we stepped onto this farm, you could feel the energy of sadness, and it was a palpable, dense sadness. And these cows were all at the top corner, looking when they were not being milked at the top corner, and all the babies in their little crates facing the opposite way so they couldn't see them. And all the moms would be at the corner, and then twice a day at 4 p.m. and 4 a.m. just to be reminded what's going on and get milked. And I never really thought about the dairy industry to that extent. And then this sadness, just and the look in their eyes, it was so sad. That was the toughest one.
Yeah, I mean, to the point that there's 4 of us filming that day, which was it was usually just Kip and I. And people would like see the crew, it's like, oh, you guys have big crews. Like, no, it's literally Kip and I. But that day we had 2 other people shooting with us, and Kip actually, you left like 3 hours. We stayed another 3 hours, but Kip couldn't take it. Like, it is so intense. And that's the reason why I became vegan. It was through these bands, but it was the introduction about dairy. I thought I was a vegetarian. I thought, oh, hey, I'm doing the right thing. But that separation of child and mother is so intense. And that's something I think we really try to get across in an environmental film about the ethics as well.
And the toughest part was when we went to the farm with the family. That was leading that at the end when we visited we were with the kids, and she was with her and her brother were with the pigs, and they were lying on them, talking about how they were her sister and best friend, and then finding out this was only the second round of I believe at the time it was the second time that they're homeschooled and these pigs were being killed. So every 7 months they get raised by them. That was mainly their main chore, to raise them and get killed. I think it was a week later, these pigs, and it was only the second time, I think, that they were going to get killed. I just had this vision of her, just bawling. And we had to leave. And it was so sad to see not only all these pigs that were around, but then to her of what she had to go through. That was really tough.
What was the best thing about making movies?
You start. The best thing about making movie, one of the funnest parts of making movie was with the little chicken rescue. We had a lot of fun. It was so crazy how that little chicken was just sitting as you saw on the passenger seat, and just chilling, just like looking around, just like driving around. It's so funny because I was like going crazy, flying all over the place, and that was special for me too, to get to know Animal Place. It was the first time to get bonded with an animal sanctuary, and just to learn. On that note, the film COWSPIRACY got really dark. And then we're like, hey, let's look at positive solutions, and it's really how the film went. And once we started looking at positive solutions, it's never ended until today, and that's why I'm all focused on, wow, this is happening so fast. So that was exciting looking at all the incredible things that are happening. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, meeting so many amazing people while making films. I mean, Dr. Richard Openlander with COWSPIRACY was huge, instrumental in making that film, and that was an amazing thing. And then, to be totally honest, meeting Dr. Milton Mills when we did What the Hell, Dr. Mills is speaking, already spoke or speaking?
Yeah, we should interview him again. Yeah, watch out.
Dr. Mills is hands down one of Kip and I's favorite people on the planet, but definitely physicians, because he comes with such energy and such passion and such knowledge, and that's infectious. And for someone like me who I'm like addicted to information, just the perfect person. And that's probably it definitely is the best part about making this film, is meeting all these super inspiring people, because it's hard, and like we're learning all this heavy information, but you see other people who are doing it. And I think that's one of the intentions of this conference is meeting each other and to see each other. We're all part of this, and we're all doing it. And we're all doing it together to be inspired by that. Because people say, oh, it's just a bunch of vegans getting together, it's preaching to the choir. So no, this is about inspiring the choir. This is about getting together and realizing that we're all part of this.
With that being said too, like Keegan Kuhn, we just made this film, like working super hard at it, but knowing this is a small fraction of, we had the support of all of us together, of all of you all, we're all making this together, and put us through the darkest times, going like, hey, we're just making a film. It's the people, we put out, especially COWSPIRACY, that was like the first one. It was scary, releasing, we didn't know if we should go to another country. Like, you know what? It's the people who are showing that film in Utah, like with the ag laws and the things that this could disrupt in these certain states. By them stepping up, they live in Utah, in Idaho, these communities of farmers. They're showing that film. That was like the next level. I feel above for anything that we've done. With that being said, too, is a lot of questions we get is, has anything happened since the making, any dangerous, like, weird things? We just always say no, but I mean, more recently, yes, that'll come out a little bit further down the road. But to know that it's okay, we feel we just don't really have a choice of it's kind of like what Paul always says too, is we feel the bigger risk is not doing something than doing something. And we feel protected by not only the film and you all, but it's protected by the truth. Because if the animal culture industry ever does anything with like litigation or anything like that, the truth just always comes out that much faster. And I think they learned that with Howard Lyman and Oprah. So feeling supported by truth and the right side of history and support is just, just really, really grateful.
So we have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Cool. So if people do have, is there a mic set up, or we're just gonna have? Yeah. So if Kip and I do a lot of these, if we can have questions and not statements. So you have a statement you want to make, you can do that. The questions are really nice.
Yeah. Thanks so much. So both COWSPIRACY and What the Health had such a profound impact on so many individuals. Could you speak to if you were able to make any progress in the political, with working with politicians to actually get some of these laws changed with either kind of vote?
Yeah, so in the United States, no. In other parts of the world, yes. So 2 years ago, Kip went to the European Union Parliament, and they did a screening of COWSPIRACY in the Parliament. Austrian Parliament, Italian Parliament, Danish, Swedish?
Holland.
Yeah, the Dutch Parliament.
It's happening fast there.
Yeah. So other countries are picking up this information, and they're starting to talk about it. As far as legislation, there's not a lot happening. This industry is so massive that they have a huge pull on the government. And so I think until we hit that tipping point, which Kip talked about yesterday, 10%, 10 to 12% of the population being vegan or vegetarian, that's enough where it's going to start to really pull the power that this industry has on the government.
Hi there. Quick question. 2 weeks ago, Reuters came out with a story about a new trend in factory farms. Instead of going out, they're now going vertical. So there's a new trend of vertical factory farms, and they're high-rises. So they're starting in China. So they have a 7-story, and they're building a 13-story. They call them hog hotel. And this is unbelievable. It's like you see the story, they have video, and it's stunning that now, because of money, they're now literally creating concrete concentration camps for these animals. So a bunch of us over on Twitter, and we're like, where do we even begin to stop this? Because this cannot become a trend. We've got to stop it now, and it's only in China right now. But like as activists, like where do we even begin to stop something like this? Because it can't be a thing.
I mean, the first thing that popped to my mind is we just had an interview with Mark Ching. Mark Ching works with the dog slaughters in China and in Korea. And that's one of the things he just couldn't take it. He's like, I'm going over there by myself and filming and exposing. That guy's story is amazing. He's one person that has just created this entire, so much transformation, so much power. One person just having passion and just doing it. So I'm not saying to go to China and just somehow to show what's happening there, but that's the first thing that came to my mind is just to showing. I didn't even know that. So how, if everybody knows this, how can we do something first to educate people that this is even happening, to show how ridiculous that is, and then to eventually, hey, maybe shut this down.
Yeah, to be honest, it would be the same. I think education is key. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, I come from more of an anarchist background, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of legislation. I think we have a cultural shift, and so we have to create a culture that says enough's enough. We're not okay with that, and that's only going to come through education.
Hi. I just know that there's so much in terms of the positive impact that those two movies have made, but I haven't really seen it articulated in any one place. And if you could just share hey, these things have been happening as a result. You just mentioned that the whole presentation that you did in the EU, things along those lines. I would love to hear it, or love to know where I can go to hear more about it. And then secondly, can you share something about the upcoming documentary that you guys are working on, or is that sort of top secret? I'd love to know.
On that, if you were here for yesterday's talks, if you watch these other videos, I actually have my video of how fast, say, veganism is on the rise, 600%, 987% of something else. In the UK, it's up to 7%. On and on and on, just staggering numbers. As I love what Paul Watson said, this in the history of humanity, as far as a movement, is the fastest growing movement that's ever happened. A lot of times things happen, This one went like nothing happened, boom. So it is happening. And again, I think Keegan was really one, it's not really the legislation, and as you heard Paul Watson say, it's really, we're just so fortunate at the time now where we have so much, the community has so much power, we really dictate what's happening more than ever before, and almost like the politicians follow behind. So it's happening really, really fast.
And as far as the impact these films have had, Kip and I are obviously very cautious about taking credit for anything. But after the film came out, Sierra Club did a whole statement about the benefits of plant-based diet. After COWSPIRACY, Rainforest Action Network did a campaign called Conscious Eating where they talked about benefits of a plant-based diet. They actually came out and said that was not in response to us, but they were working on it before COWSPIRACY came out, which is fine. NRDC started talking about it, so the organization started to respond to it, and that's great. Greenpeace International is talking about it. Greenpeace USA still isn't really doing much in the realms of plant-based diet. After American What the Health came out, the American
Cancer Society, while we were in production, actually took off all processed meats while we were in production. And
the American Diabetes Association just last week had their national conference, and they invited Michelle McMacken, who's featured in the film, to give an entire presentation about the benefits of a plant-based diet on reversing and preventing type 2 diabetes. So really positive things are happening. Absolutely, we've had tens of thousands of people sign up for our 30-day vegan challenge, and just in the first time we did it in April in 2015, I think we had 40,000 people sign up for our 30-day vegan challenge in 1 month. Wow. So we're seeing positive changes like that. We have a meal planner that tens of thousands of people are signing up with. So we're seeing those things, and we also hear from thousands and thousands of people. But again, What the Health and COWSPIRACY, these were just right time and place films, so that it's all of us working together. These were just one part of it that made it easier, maybe. So we don't really take a lot of credit for it. As far as new projects, I have a new film that I just finished that hopefully will be out this summer. Now I can show the trailer, but just for simplicity, it's called Running for Good. It's a feature-length documentary about Fiona Oakes, who's a 3-time world record marathon runner. She's the fastest woman to run a marathon on all 7 continents and the North Pole. She's done all of this despite the fact that she lost her right kneecap when she was 15 years old. She was told that she was never going to walk properly, let alone ever run at that time. And she's gone on to break all these world records and compete in basically every extreme race in the world. And her whole motivation for doing this is that she's vegan, and she wants to show that veganism doesn't hold you back from anything, and in fact may make you a better athlete. But it's also to raise money for her sanctuary because she takes care of 450 animals every single day off her personal sanctuary, pretty much single-handedly. So she's amazing for that. So that film's called Running for Good. You can find the trailer at runningforgoodfilms.com. And you can also check out Fiona Oakes. Her sanctuary is called Tower Hill Stables. She's been an amazing person. Hope to have that film out later this summer. And then I also have another film that just started shooting with my friend John Lewis, the Badass Vegan. And it's a film, Who's Speaking Up Next. And that's an incredible film. We're about halfway through shooting, and it's looking at the intersections of race, poverty, and food justice, but through the lens of hip-hop. Hip-hop music is potentially the most influential art form in human history. It's what hip-hop artists say, wear, do, drink, drive, and talk about influencing the purchasing power of millions of people around the world. And a lot of hip-hop artists are interested in healthy eating, plant-based diets, and food justice. So we're highlighting those artists to talk about the issues, and then looking deeper into that subject about what is the historical implications of of diet and disease, particularly in communities of color. That film's called Hungry for Justice. We don't have a website up yet, we don't have a trailer for it, but I'm sure John's going to talk about it next, so definitely stick around for John's talk.
And definitely watch for Running for Good. I was fortunate enough to watch it just a week ago, and it's awesome. So stay tuned or follow that. Do you have a Facebook page and stuff?
I'm really bad at this. So yeah. Runningforgoodfilm.com is the best place. It's at the newsletter.
Working on several film projects. Some of them are a little bit under wraps. One of them I mentioned yesterday is COWSPIRAcy, Allie and Lucy. Bless their heart, they want to be here so bad. They'll be here soon enough. That's me. It's in production towards the end of finishing it. That's an awesome film, all in the oceans and the fishes of our planet. Super powerful, we're really excited about. Another film I'm working on is, and it's going to either be a film or a doc series, seeing how it's in pre-production. It's called 30 to Life, working with John Joseph, Paul DeGelder. If anyone knows him, you can look them up as mentors. And has anyone seen the documentary 13th?
Yes.
Watch 13th if you haven't. I only saw it a few months ago, and that's what led to this, to John, like about a week after I saw that, he mentioned this project, and I said, absolutely. Because 13th talks about the whole, essentially how slavery is alive today, and about the prison system, and what a failed system it is. Up to 75% of all people who go to prison, within just a few years, around 70% are back in prison. The most failed system, it is so incredible, I have no idea. So that film is very powerful. We like to think of this as a solution to that film. They didn't provide a solution. So this is called 30 Life, and exploring different things that people are doing in organizations to do a transformation. The 30 Life is a play on the sentence term, but also we're doing a transformation 30 days. It's actually 40 days. It's 40 days is the transformation. And 30 days through personal transformation, through diet, through showing diet through empathy. Diet as a social justice thing, not as only it's for health or feeling good, but with What the Health, the story arc of that is to show that this is a social justice issue that Keegan's next film is like completely on. And to show empathy. We're working with prisoners lately on diet and how incorporating empathy into your food, others, and getting out of yourself and getting into what you're doing with others. So that's a really exciting film project. It's almost like an experiment of working of awesome things to turn that around. So it's called 30 to Life, and that's really exciting. And a couple other projects, well, other wraps. But stay tuned. 2019 is a huge, another awesome year. Again, someone said 2018 is the year of vegan. I was like, that was 2017. So 2018, 2019 is the year it all happened as well.
That's all the time we have. Thank you all again so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.